All right, welcome, folks. Thanks for joining us. This is our first info session to talk about our production assistant training and work experience program. My name's Audra Lehman. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Workforce Development at Washington FilmWorks. And I am excited to talk through lots of things this evening with you. Here's the plan. We're going to talk a bit about Washington FilmWorks because I can never pass up an opportunity to talk about the organization and what we do. I'll share a bit about Forward, which is our workforce development office at Washington FilmWorks. And then we'll dive into the details of our PA training and work experience program. That will include an application preview. So we'll talk through the components of the application. We'll definitely talk about some key dates. And then at the end, we'll make space for questions. The goal really is to gather questions. If I can't answer them this evening, we definitely will gather them and make sure they're included in our FAQs on our website, which will be published shortly. So you can help by asking good questions that we can try and find answers for you. All right, let's start with talking about Washington FilmWorks. Washington FilmWorks, for folks who don't know, is the statewide nonprofit organization that is legislatively commissioned to run programs and efforts that really are about creating economic development. Our goal is to build opportunities, enhance the competitiveness and profile of Washington State's film industry. So we're really about economic development. We're about film in Washington State. We've been doing this work for 18 years, but you might have heard more from us recently. There was landmark legislation in 2022, which really expanded the work we do and our priorities. Here's some of the programs and supports that Washington FilmWorks offers. We've been offering funding assistance programs for a long time, so that might be the place that folks are most familiar with our work. We have two key funding assistance programs. So this is to support production in Washington State. Both of those programs offer 30% cash back on qualified in-state spending for approved projects. So a film project gets approved through our board, spends money in Washington State, creating jobs, working with vendors and businesses, and then gets 30% cash back on those qualified in-state spend. We have a production incentive program and a small budget production initiative. I encourage folks to check those out. If you're interested in learning more about our funding assistance programs on our website, you can find it under the incentives tab. Lots of information there, read through the guidelines and criteria. There's one sheets, lots of opportunities to learn more about the programs and if what you might be working on might be a fit for one of them. I'll also say our small budget production initiative is opened up, so take a look at that as well. Other resources, our film office. We run the statewide film office. I encourage folks to check this out as well. There are resources there for everyone. Whether you are accessing a funding assistance with Washington FilmWorks or not, you can access resources through our film office. We have over 100 film liaisons across the state that can help with things like locations, permitting, connections, anywhere that you're trying to film. I really encourage folks, if you are poking around on our website or if you have a project that you are working on, tell us about it. There's a space under our film office tab. Tell us about what you're working on in film. It not only helps us get you connected with resources, it also helps us with our advocacy work. We're constantly advocating for film in Washington State, not just the projects that we are able to incentivize, but all filming helps us, or learning about all film projects helps us get a bigger picture of what's going on and helps us advocate more strongly for film. So please tell us what you're working on. Under that film office tab, you can also find a production directory. This is a great place to find crew and support services or create your own profile. If you haven't yet, you just need one credit. You can get in there and create a profile for yourself. This is the way for folks to find you. When we have productions come from out of state, oftentimes they're asking us, who you got? Who's your workforce? Who should I be working with? We're always going to point them to the crew directory. So I really encourage you to create a profile there if you haven't yet. We also have a wonderful locations database. I don't know if y'all know this, but Washington State is a locations dream. We have everything in this state. And we really are trying to capture all of that within our locations database. We have tons of locations there now, so you can go and look and search for what you're looking for. You can also upload your own location. If you have a location that you can give permission to film in, you can upload your own location on our database as well. We are involved in rural economic development work. So we work with the 29 out of 39 counties in Washington state that are considered rural to help those counties be film ready. Again, film is economic development, and we know that when film comes to a city or a town, it means jobs, it means money, it's investment in the community, not just during the filming, but for years to come. Film tourism is a real thing, and you all have gone and probably had cherry pie. Thanks to Twin Peaks, we've probably gone to Forks, thanks to Twilight. So we're doing rural economic development work across the state to make sure that every corner of the state is really film ready when those projects come. And then workforce development. We're really interested, or we're building the depth and breadth of the workforce here in Washington state to really meet the growing need of the industry. All of our workforce development work is focused on historically underrepresented community members, and I will give that definition in a little bit. And that is part of our legislative mandate. So let's talk more about workforce development. That landmark legislation I mentioned earlier in 2022 really created our workforce development focus at Washington FilmWorks. It created the mandate to serve historically underrepresented communities specifically in our workforce development work as well. So in 2023, we launched Forward, which is our workforce development office at Washington FilmWorks. And we've been really focused in these three key areas: programming, resources, and creative economy advocacy. Within programming, folks might have heard of our Above the Line Education Forum and Mentorship Program. That's an ongoing program. You can check it out on our website. To date, we've served 80 participants in the program. I see a couple on the call tonight. It's nice to see you here. And we've served 8 folks in the mentorship so far. That's an ongoing program focused on early to mid-career producers and directors in the film industry. It's sessions over 15 weeks providing business of film skills. I encourage you to check it out. Then we have our PA training and work experience program that's launching right now. And obviously, we'll talk a lot more about it tonight. In 2024, we had a Forward Funding Initiative pilot. This program, that pilot, invested $129,000 in support of workforce development efforts across the state. So it was really around hyperlocal efforts. What were folks already doing in workforce development, and could we help support it? We provided funding in 6 counties across the state and to 11 different businesses. And then our media mentorship program, folks might have heard of that in the past. That's a past program that really was the seed for the PA training program we're going to talk about tonight. So this program is really the evolution of our past media mentorship program. In addition to programming, we're always building resources. So you can check out our website, or within our programs, we're always looking to provide more resources to folks and be a hub for that. And then we're really engaged in creative economy advocacy. So we work alongside with partners and collaborators across the state to advocate for the creative economy workforce, which is often a bit invisible in some of our usual workforce development systems and data. So we're working to change that. Okay, let's dive into the PA training program. The Production Assistant Training and Work Experience Program is really designed to establish an entry-level pathway to film, television, and creative media industry in Washington state. That's the goal, entry-level pathway into the industry. It has these real key components of training, placement, and support, and we'll get into these in a lot more detail. But really, it's providing industry standard online PA training. I'm happy to say that our training partner, Power PA, is on the call tonight. So I'm sure Matt will hop in later and answer questions as well. Thanks for being here, Matt. Placement opportunities. So the opportunity to get paid work experience with employer partners. We'll talk more about how that works. And then support throughout. So there's monthly professional development sessions throughout the program, and then mentor support once folks have a work placement. Okay, you might be saying, great, Audra, that sounds cool, but what is a PA? I don't know, maybe folks know, but let's just make sure. Let's have some shared language around what a production assistant is. Production assistants are the entry-level position in film, television, and creative media industry. Commonly, they're going to fall either into on-set support, helping with tasks, errands, lockups. Folks might be familiar with these terms. So that's like securing an area for filming, setup and breakdown. I think the kind of typical PA job is the like moving an apple box, right? I'm looking at Matt, that's on-set production support. Also, PAs can provide production office support. So typically this is administrative tasks, filing phones, copies, those types of things in the office. A film is a business. It has a ton of office support that's needed to make a film happen. So typically PAs will be in one of those two environments. PAs are critical to any set. They're critical. They make things go. They're also a really critical pathway for folks. Many folks start in this industry as PAs, and it is really the pathway to crafts. So most folks start as a PA and they learn about different departments before identifying the path they want to go on. Are you interested in wardrobe? Is it art department? Is it G&E, grip and electric? Is it camera? The beginning point is really that production assistant role to start to learn how does a set work, where are your interests, and start building those skills and those connections. So if all that sounds exciting, you're in the right place. Okay. Here's a basic overview of the program. There's a lot of words on the screen. I will read it out, and we can definitely talk through it in the Q&A. So the basic overview is folks will apply to the program and be selected, and we'll talk about the application process in a little bit. They'll complete an online program onboarding. So once you're in, we'll have a session where we just talk more about the program and what it is. What did you just sign up for? Then you'll successfully complete online training with Power PA, which is our training partner, within 60 days of entering the program. You can finish it a lot faster than that, but you have to finish it within 60 days in order to remain active within the program. Once you've successfully completed that, you join that PA roster for the opportunity to apply for those jobs with those work experience partners. At that point, when those jobs become available, you'd have an opportunity to apply, interview, and get hired. That will happen with the partner. They are the ones making the hiring decisions. We're connecting. Each placement, so each time you get hired in the program, is typically about 100 hours, but the minimum will be 40 hours. So each of those will be 40 hours of paid work experience, 40 to 100. For each of those placements, we'll connect you with a matched mentor for additional support. Typically, we'd love to connect you with mentors that might be in your area of interest. I'm starting as a PA, but I really am interested in camera. I really am interested in being a grip. We would try to match you with folks that can maybe help you with that path. Attend monthly professional development sessions. So throughout the program, as there will be periods where folks in the program, those opportunities for hiring will come and go. The frequency of that can vary. So there will always be these monthly professional development sessions where folks will be able to connect with each other in program and connect with Washington FilmWorks, Power PA, our training partner, or panels that we put together. So we'll have these professional development sessions as opportunities to connect and to learn together. We ask that folks stay connected with Washington FilmWorks throughout. There'll be regular check-ins and surveys. So we know that folks are staying active and know how we can help you be successful. And then folks would exit the program at either 1 year from the start point or once they've completed 2 placements. So if you come in and you're able to get those 2 placements, congratulations, you've successfully completed the program. You'd exit earlier. You would still be able to access the professional development sessions for the full year, even if you completed your 2 placements prior to that. Okay, let's get into some of the details a little bit more. Let's talk training, the PA training part. So Power PA, as I said, is our training partner, and they provide online asynchronous training, meaning you can take it at your own pace, at your own time. You can take it at 1 a.m. if you want to, and they're not live sessions, so you can go at your own pace. The training covers foundational PA skills, including, but not limited to, film set hierarchy, film departments overview, set etiquette, big one, walkie-talkie norms and terminology, typical PA tasks and basic PA gear. What do you need to get on set? Safety protocols, paperwork basics, including call sheets, petty cash, time cards, deal memos, and then also talking about office PA duties, as I talked about earlier. PAs are often on set in a production environment or in a production office environment as well. During the program, folks will have an opportunity to sign up for additional time with Power PA for resume and industry support. I encourage folks to do that. That is an incredible resource to meet with someone one-on-one and talk about your resume, ask questions about working in the industry. How can you set yourself up to really for success and to get hired? All of this, the entire program is available at no cost to participants. So I want to stress that as well. If you're in the program, it is available at no cost to you. Okay, let's talk about the placement part. So you're in the program, you've completed the training. Now that you've successfully completed your PA training, now you have an opportunity to be placed, to get hired. So these opportunities are either with our work experience partners or with incentive projects. I mentioned earlier that Washington FilmWorks manages our statewide incentive. So sometimes we have projects that are coming from out of state, typically, not always, some are in state, that are accessing our production incentive program. Those projects will also have placement opportunities. So it might be with a local production company who's a work experience partner. It might be with the feature film that came into town. So, and a lot of variation in between. You would apply for those job opportunities through Washington FilmWorks. So we would work with our partner. They'd let us know about a job opportunity. We would share that with the roster of folks who've completed training, and then folks would express their interest in that job. Count me in, throw your hat in the ring for it. We will share that information with the partner, and they will interview and hire directly. Washington FilmWorks covers the wages. So these are paid positions with the pay covered by Washington FilmWorks. With our work experience partner, those placements are at $25 an hour. With incentive project placements, it's dependent on the project. They're typically managing a large set. They have union agreements in place, so those rates can vary. Those rates would be available to you at the time that you'd be applying, so you'd have a sense of what you're signing up for. Really, this is about gaining work experience. Again, with those work experience partners, those placements are going to be between 40 and 100 hours per placement. Each person in program that successfully completed training will have an opportunity to complete 2 placements. And with incentive projects, it'll be at least 40 hours, but there's no max. So sometimes this is a feature project. They're filming for 20, 30 days. Those can be lots of hours, lots and lots of hours. Looking at a few folks on the call who are like, yes, it sure can. Okay. The other component is the support. So throughout the program, there's lots of ways to get support. Sign up for additional time with Power PA, as I mentioned, for that resume and industry support. Those monthly online professional development sessions. So sometimes this will look like office hours. Sometimes it'll be a panel discussion or a workshop. There's additional mentor support, as I mentioned, for each placement. So when you get hired, you'll get matched with a mentor. We'll have an online forum for networking connection. A big part of this is the community that folks build in program. You get connected with each other. The film industry is a highly networked industry. It's a lot about who you know. You've worked with somebody, now they know how you work. They want to work with you again. So build community within your cohort, your group, and with the connections that you all are building. So that online forum is a really wonderful place to share those things and support each other. And we encourage folks to create a profile in the crew directory, as I mentioned before. Once you have that first credit, if you have one now, you can create a profile, and that always helps with additional work opportunities too. Again, that's where we point folks that are hiring. Okay. You're saying this all sounds great. Sign me up. Am I eligible? Let's talk about eligibility. So you must be a Washington resident. Okay, you live in Washington now, but the way we identify a Washington resident is an individual who maintains a permanent dwelling within the state and spends an aggregate of at least 6 months each year within the state. So you would be signing a declaration of residency, certifying that, and providing some proof of that. So just letting folks know that would be what the process would look like. You have to be over 18. You have to have a legal right to work in the US. What this really shakes out to is you have to be able to fill out an I-9 form. For anyone who's filled out an I-9, you know that it's an employment eligibility form, and it really is confirming 2 things: your identity and your employment authorization. If you have questions on the I-9 form, you can find it on the IRS website. That's the form you would need to be able to complete in order to be hired. You have to have 15 or less paid days of production work. Again, this is an entry-level program. The goal here is to get folks into the industry, build connections for folks who are new to the industry. When we say 15 or less paid days of production work, we also mean paid at minimum wage. So if you've been busy working in film, but being paid in gas money or pizza, that doesn't count. We mean 15 paid days at minimum wage. 15 or less, and then you'd be eligible for the program. You have to be able to attend classes online. As I mentioned, the PA training is online asynchronous training. You can't have completed the program before, not a problem right now. This is the first time we've done it. You can't be a member of the Washington FilmWorks board or staff. That would be a conflict. And you have to be a member of historically underrepresented community. And I will share the definition of that now. All right. This is Washington FilmWorks' definition of historically underrepresented community, and I'm going to read it out, especially if there might be folks on the call who aren't able to see the screen. This definition, folks need to self-identify this way. So as I read this definition or you look at it later, if this is true for you, then you are eligible for the program. An individual or group of persons who have been relegated to an unimportant or powerless position such that they are prevented from participating fully in decisions affecting their lives. People may experience further marginalization because of their intersecting identities. They are often communities or populations that face systemic economic, political, social, and cultural barriers, many of them embedded in local laws and norms. The term encompasses communities with a shared experience of marginalization stemming from circumstances beyond their control. Historically underrepresented communities often include Black, Latino, Indigenous and American Indian, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, Asian Americans, and Pacific Islanders, and other persons of color, members of religious minorities, refugees, migrants, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer persons, rural communities, formerly incarcerated persons, persons experiencing homelessness, and persons with disabilities. Okay, I'm going to shift to talk a bit about the application process. So here's the overview of what you'll see on the application. And on our website, you can see the application preview. It'll walk you through all the exact questions we asked throughout. The application will open up on the 22nd. So this is the basics. We'll ask for contact information, your name, your email, your phone number, pieces like that. Eligibility certification. So what I just walked through the eligibility, you'll just certify that all of that is true for you. We ask that folks upload a letter of recommendation. This is a one-page letter from someone who's previously supervised you in a work, team, education, or volunteer environment. And then you'll answer 3 narrative questions. And these are the questions. Why do you want to be a production assistant? Please describe your interest in the film, television, and creative media industry, including which roles and departments you are most interested in. The second question, please describe any past film, television, and creative media industry experience. And the third question, why is this the right time for Washington FilmWorks to invest in your success? Again, you can find this on our website, the preview. So I highly recommend folks create a Word doc, answer all these questions, get everything ready. Then when the application opens, you're just copying and pasting it into the form. I always recommend doing that versus typing in the actual form itself. Something goes wrong, your computer goes kaput on you and you lose your work. I really recommend creating it in a separate document so you can copy and paste once the application opens. Okay, key dates, info sessions. Look, we're in the first one right now. February 18th, 5:30 to 6:30. This is our first info session. We do have another one next week on the 26th, February 26th. It's a Thursday from 12 to 1 o'clock. The application window will open on February 22nd. It will close on March 2nd at 11:59 p.m. That's Pacific time. So please get your applications in within that window. Selections and agreements. We hope to have all notifications to folks by Friday the 13th. Oh my gosh, what a lucky number. Friday the 13th of March. We hope to have notifications to folks. So you'll know whether you're in the program or not at that point. That's the date we're aiming for. At that point, you would need to complete an agreement. So there is a agreement between you and FilmWorks that you would need to sign as a participant in the program. From there, we'll have a welcome session. That's that online onboarding session I mentioned earlier. This will be on the 18th from 2 to 3:30 online. It will be recorded, so if folks aren't able to attend, you will be able to watch it afterwards. And this is just orienting to the specifics of the program and answering any questions. There is an onboarding survey. So once folks are in the program, we'll ask some basic questions to get to know you better and make sure we're have the information that'll help best match you to any of those opportunities that arise. And we ask that folks share their resume with us right away. If we have your resume on file, it makes it easier if a PA request comes in and there's a job available to get your name in front of a WEX partner as soon as possible. After that program welcome session, then you'll complete your training. Once your agreement and your welcome session is complete, then you'll be enrolled in that training, in the Power PA training program, and be able to finish that again as quickly as you are able. Okay. I'm going to, here's some questions we have already heard. I'll answer these and then we can shift and I'll answer questions in the room. Okay, how many people will the program accept? Great question. There are limited spots, so I encourage you to apply early. If it comes to that, it will be a first come situation for those who qualify for the program. If we the spots will fill up. So I encourage you to apply early. Again, the window is open February 22nd through March 2nd, but the preview is up on the website right now. So you can get all your answers ready, get that letter of recommendation set. So when this opens up, you can submit right away. And I encourage you to do that. For folks who qualify but aren't selected, again, because there's limited spots, we do plan on having another window open in just a few months' time. So we'll get back in touch. So you will remain as a qualified applicant, and we would reach back out to those folks to make sure you're still eligible and still interested. So there will be further opportunities. Who are the employers? As I mentioned a bit before, these are really production companies across the state that are creating commercials, features, shorts, documentaries, narratives, episodics. There's a wide range of work in Washington state. We'll share more on the employers once we have participants in the program. There'll be more specifics about the employers and the jobs as folks are on that active roster. Am I entry level? Good question. Again, it's 15 days or less of paid production work. Paid work is minimum wage work or more. Again, the goal of this program is to get folks who are new to the industry into the industry, and is an entry-level program. So if you've been busily working in film, that's wonderful. This might not be the right program in that you're already building those connections and those skills. Okay, a few other questions. Is there a hands-on component? We've heard this a few times. The Power PA training, as I mentioned, is all online and asynchronous. And really the reason behind that is because we're a statewide organization and we want to make sure that we have statewide access to this. Our hope really is to have folks all across the state interested in the film industry and getting this training and getting opportunities to work. So the training is entirely online. Am I guaranteed a job? Good question. The short answer is no. We can provide the training at no cost, but we aren't in control of the frequency of the jobs. We are always working to bring projects to Washington State. We're always working to support homegrown projects, but ultimately we can't guarantee a certain number of opportunities will come this year. When those opportunities do come and are available to that active roster, again, the participants will apply and interview, and it's up to those employer partners to hire. So they will be doing the interviewing and making the hiring decisions. So again, there aren't we can't guarantee those pieces. The pieces we can guarantee is if you're in the program, we can provide the training, provide those monthly development sessions, provide the community of other PAs in the program, which also can garner a lot of opportunities within just that community itself. What makes a strong application? A few folks have asked me this. I can't quite answer this for you, but I will say historically in all the programs we've had, I always encourage folks to just be yourself. I think that is always what comes across most strongly to the jurors who are reviewing any application. Be honest, be open, share your experience, your personality. These things are a great way for folks to get to know you and really understand why this program is a great fit for you. So I just encourage you to be yourself throughout the application process. Okay. If folks have questions, they can reach out to the Washington FilmWorks Forward team at forwardfwd@washingtonfilmworks.org. Happy to field questions. Again, this recording will go up on our website for folks to see there. We do have a second info session coming up on the 26th. We will put an FAQ document on our website as we collect questions and answer them. So you can always go to our website, hopefully to learn more, or reach out to us at fwd@washingtonfilmworks.org with questions.